The year is 1971. The English summer has just begun. Unpredictable skies, cool breeze, and the unmistakable tradition of cricket fills the air. England, the cradle of cricket, is ready for another season. Fresh from a historic series win against the formidable West Indies, the Indian cricket team arrives in England, the land of old Blighty. Under the leadership of Ajit Wadekar, India had just achieved their first Test series victory in the Caribbean islands, a feat that signaled a new era for Indian cricket. Central to this triumph was a 22-year-old debutant from the Maidans of Matunga, Sunil Gavaskar. In his debut series, Gavaskar amassed an astounding 774 runs at an average of 155. The Caribbean calypso echoed.
At all, not at all. You know the West Indies couldn't knock Gavaskar at all.
Back in the day, India's spin quartet dominated the cricket world. It had the guile of Bedi, mystery of Chandrasekhar, accuracy of Venkat Raghavan, and the street smartness of Errapalli Prasanna. Despite India's recent success, the motor-mouth English media had already counted India out. India as a nation was just seen as a former colony, not yet ready to challenge the might of England on their home turf. In keeping with tradition of long tours those days, India embarked on a grueling tour, playing 19 first-class matches to acclimate to English conditions. These games were crucial for preparation, allowing players to adjust to the swing-friendly pitches and overcast skies. The first test was to be played at the home of cricket, the Lord's Cricket Ground. The first test at Lord's ended in a draw, but not without drama. After a minor hiccup while batting first, English fast bowler John Snow came to the rescue by putting up a gritty half-century to carry the team's total above 300.
That's it. Quick signal to a single.
His childhood dream of scoring a century at Lord's was cut short by Indian leggy Chandrasekhar with his googly. The Indian batsman, led by the skipper himself with his aggressive style of batting, supported by Vishwanath with his quirky wrist work, and Eknath Solkar, batted beautifully to get India a 9 runs lead. It was not enough for a win, but enough to put a resilient fight. India had to chase down 183 in the last 2 sessions or so to win, and that's when an infamous incident took place. A collision between John Snow and Sunil Gavaskar stirred controversy. This collision, as I see it, gives me a sense of arrogance of the English cricketers back in the day. Snow's aggressive play led to media uproar, but the match concluded without a decisive result, ending in a draw. After a dramatic draw in the first test, let's move on to Manchester. The second test in Manchester also ended in a draw. India showed resilience, a couple of 50s by Gavaskar and Solkar, but the Indian spin trio was countered effectively by the English batsmen. The skipper Ray Illingworth, with his determined batting, scored a century in the first innings, negating the crafty Indian spinners without even a flinch.
Of his career.
With the series tied, the final test at the Oval became the decider. Thanks to the skillful wicketkeeper batsman Alan Knott and their debutant opener Jameson, England posted 355 in their first innings. India responded with 284. Kudos to the technically solid Dilip Sardesai and the flamboyant Farooq Engineer. India were trailing by just 71 runs. Then came a magical spell from Bhagwat Chandrasekhar. His 6 for 38 dismantled England for just 101 runs in their second innings. Chandra, due to a polio attack in childhood, had a withered right arm, but Chandra transformed his adversity into strength. India's biggest match winner in overseas at that point in time. The batsman never quite knew what to expect from Chandra. Ironically, he once admitted neither did he. But that day, the magician delivered a spell for the ages. Chasing 173, India faced early setbacks, but steady contributions from Wadekar, Sardesai and Vishwanath brought them close. There is an interesting anecdote about the Oval Test. It was the month of August and the festivities of Ganesh Chaturthi were to coincide on the 5th and the most crucial day of the Test match. Indian fans borrowed an elephant named Bella from Chessington Zoo mid-match. The Indian team saw Bella as a good omen on that auspicious day. Well, at the end of the day, Bella indeed proved out to be lucky.
All the way along the line, there's been terrific tension in that dressing room all morning. But they're relieved now because they're just 3 runs away from the first victory ever against England.
With just a few runs needed, Abid Ali goes to the back foot, cuts the ball hard into the gap for a 4, sealing India's first ever Test series victory on British soil, and the crowd barges on the ground to celebrate the historic moment. Bella wasn't the only animal involved, by the way. When Chandra was bowling to John Edrich, his fellow teammate Dilip Sardesai asked Chandra to bowl a Mill Reef. Mill Reef was a horse in England which was winning all the big races and had tremendous speed. Chandra trusted Dilip's tactical prowess and bowled a quicker one that caught Edrich out of sorts and knocked his pace to get him out.
Corner, in fact.
The legacy of that Indian team lives strong in the hearts of millions of Indians that truly personified that India is capable of achieving whatever they desire. India can ascend any heights. India has truly arrived, not just in cricketing circuits, but the world. Adekar, recollecting the win many years after, believed Lord Ganesha himself descended to make the Indian team clinch the win. Celebrations erupted back home with fans dancing in the streets. The 1971 series win in England remains a golden chapter in Indian cricket history, a testament to determination, skill, and the spirit of a team that dared to dream. That's how an elephant and a horse won India its first ever series on the British soil. That's all for the first episode of Down the Memory Lane. I hope you liked it. Please like, share and subscribe, and stay tuned for much more content coming your way.